Hey, it's ODB, the Lincoln Addict, back with another video. Thanks for coming back if you're a return viewer. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all of the continued support. Now, what I'm going to do is share my screen, and Barrett-Jackson's coming up. I haven't really spent a lot of time with any videos so far in 2025 covering the famed Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale. If you know the channel, you know I kind of try to cover this stuff extensively. Here's where I'm going to start. There's about 15 1960s Lincolns, right? So those prime years from 61 to 69 that I so love and primarily cover here on the channel. Now, I'm not going to go over all of them. I am going to start with the earliest year of those 60s, which is the 62 for this auction. There's technically 4 62s you see here, where I'm going to start in a moment with this one. We've got another 62 convertible here with air suspension. You got a 62 that was used by former President John F. Kennedy. I'm not going to cover that one right now. It's more of kind of a special car, if you will. And then we've got another custom topless sedan, which is a Roadster, if you will. So, again, this will just help kind of break it up. So if you're sharing or if you're seeing my screen here, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this 62 convertible. And this car I have seen in person. I saw it at SEMA 2017 or 2018, if I remember correctly. And RMD Garage, which they were a show on Velocity slash, I think, Motor Trend. They had a few seasons. There's a guy, Ralph, very talented. Him and his team, they built this car. The thing that I will tell you about it is me and like seeing this car in person. It was done nicely. It's not a perfect car, and rarely are these cars perfect. Okay, when we look at this overhead photo, we can see a couple of things. Number one, it has upgraded brakes, so it has a Willwood booster and master cylinder, so good stuff. It does have a 2-port, not a 3-port fuel pump, and it is a non-air conditioned car. We do not see the air compressor or the AC compressor here. Overall, yeah, there's a few things, with the color. Some of the stuff's color matched and things like that. You've got a little bit different of a hold down here. There's a few kind of odds and ends, but you could always kind of put that back if you wanted to. This car, the other standout thing is it has the Raceline billet aluminum wheels. So these wheels are very, very popular. There's about my favorite company, Colorado Custom, and then you've got Raceline. You've got a couple of these companies that are making kind of quote unquote Lincoln wheels, if that makes sense. This car to me is pretty cool, man. It's a little bit different color if you were in the market for a non-black car. And oh, by the way, it retains the original MEL 430, which I think is fantastic. Here's the thing. If you go down here and copy this VIN, from covering these cars so much, I know that this car is sold prior, and believe it or not, it sold some 8 years ago. So I think I saw it at SEMA 2016. It was either 2015 or 2016 now, out in Las Vegas. This car, believe it or not, I was very surprised back then that it only sold for $77,000. Now, I cannot remember. I want to say maybe it sold one other time since then, possibly on Bring a Trailer. I didn't go and look for it there, but that will give you a little bit of idea of what it's sold for in the past. So, there's more information out here, and actually this confirms here. It was in the Toyo Tread Pass. That's where I saw it at SEMA 2016. So that's one of the 62s that is going at Barrett-Jackson. The next one, I have not looked at this one really in depth. What we can see here is, number one, it's an airbagged car, so it's low. It's not going to appeal to everyone, although so many people do want an airbagged Lincoln, believe it or not. We can see this rear window. These windows, I've reinforced this multiple times, they're auto drop. So when you open the door, the window should drop 3 inches or so. When you close the door, the window should go up and seal against that molding, if you will, that's inside. This definitely does not look good. I would not have used that photo. I would have put the windows down. Now, this could indicate either the window's not working or someone forced the, if the auto drop isn't working and someone forces the door open and they're like, oh crap, and then they close it. That's the way that window is going to look. You ask, how do you remedy that? Well, if you can put the window down from the front driver control panel or the rear, in this case, passenger, you just put the window down, close the door, and then you put the window up. Keep in mind, if the windows have not been, quote, gone through, sure, there could be a challenge with them not working, and we can kind of see that here as well. You've got some steel wheels on it. That look is very popular, whether you like it or not. It definitely is a popular look. We can see that it has the custom kind of speaker pods. It has an LS engine, which could be a turnoff to some people. I get, although it is potentially going to be something that intrigues a lot of buyers. So many folks go, hey, I'd love to have a Lincoln, but I want a, quote, reliable engine. Well, I'm going to be covering more about the Ghost Lincoln, which was a 61, and how many miles Ford put on that. They blew it apart back in 1962. These cars, I've reinforced, are very reliable if you get a good car, but again, I'll stop with that. It does look like it has probably a DB, which is Diamondback tire, with that slim white wall. Again, this isn't going to appeal to everyone, especially a purist. However, it will appeal to a lot of folks. So it will be interesting to see what this custom 62 sells for. If we continue again, I'm going to skip the JFK. I mean, that's in a class of its own. Maybe I'll do a separate video on it. It's kind of getting late in the week, so I may not be able to. Okay, so the always intriguing, I want a Lincoln, but maybe you don't want to splurge for it, or splurge for a convertible, or maybe you own a Lincoln and you go, man, why don't I just cut the roof off of my car? Well, that's what this one is. Often referred to as a topless sedan. It's easier just to say it's a Roadster, okay? The first thing that's going to stick out to you is the trunk, okay? If you have a convertible, the trunk is going to open kind of like the hood in the backwards fashion. In this case, we're looking at the rear of the car. The trunk is going to open on a sedan like a normal trunk on any other car, right? So that's going to be the first and foremost. We can see this has a what they call a raked stance. So you've got the front a little bit lower, the back not as low, maybe not lowered at all. Of course, it is on custom wheels, okay? So I've seen these topless sedans, aka Roadsters, sell for not as much, because a lot of people go, hey, I live in Florida, or I live in a state where it could rain at any moment. So I don't want to risk having this. Well, here's one thing that would potentially make someone's ears perk up and go, hey, I do want this car. It does have a Coyote 5.0 engine in it. So these kind of quote unquote Coyote swaps and engine swaps have become ultra popular the last 15, 20 years. Even more so popular the last 10 years, rather. So certainly this one's got a little bit of flair to it. I'm not a huge fan of these big sill plates. I mean, this is kind of, a little over the top to me, but you can see that they went as far as changing out the plates on the doors, with a custom touch. This may not be for everyone. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to kind of reinforce what I'm seeing. We can see the Dakota digital gauges. This would have been a kind of a no-brainer upgrade for someone that is doing a swap, because you've got all the sensors and you want to pull all of that data into the little kind of port setup that the data link, if you will, that Dakota Digital offers, as a part of that package. So we can also see the compressor and the air tank. So we know it has air suspension. Again, the back doesn't look very low. They may have just left the leaf springs in. Obviously, we do not know looking at these photos, but the front certainly is on either a shockwave or an airbag. We can look down here. It does have AccuAir, so the E level allows for you within potentially the app, depending on what or how new the AccuAir system is, or via turning the key on, auto raising, or using the little touchpad that they offer. You can adjust just 1, 2, and 3 the height of the vehicle. So let me know what you think about this one and the other cars that I've covered. Again, I would just kind of reinforce that this is going to be a very, very unique buyer. It could be somebody that goes, hey, I'm only going to take it out on the weekends. I don't really care. I'm gonna, put it in my enclosed trailer, take it to a show. If it rains, I'll drive it back in the enclosed. To me, it's gonna depend on what the price is, because if you're gonna splurge the money to get a Roadster that has a Coyote swap, right? The price would have to really be right, because you could just go get a regular convertible with the 430, do a motor swap down the road. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where that one ends up at. If you're new to the channel, again, please consider subscribing. I cover all of this for free. It's kind of just a public service announcement. I never have any connections to these auction houses or the people. If I ever did sell a car and I knew the person, I would kind of reinforce that as a clear disclaimer. But I really don't help buy or sell anymore, simply because I'd rather just kind of do public service announcements for the community or potential future Lincoln community. Some of you are just enthusiasts wanting to kind of know a little bit more, and I certainly appreciate your viewership. With that being said, if you want to buy a sticker, you can go to lincolnaddict.com, and I ship those typically within the next business day. There's 2 colors available, so you can check that out. The podcast is free. You can find it on any podcast platform. 2024 going forward, there's video episodes available and some of the older audio episodes here on my channel. Hopefully I'll be able to cover additional years and some of these other cars. If I run out of time, I'll kind of maybe just cover a few of the high hitters that I potentially feel that are going to go for the bigger dollars. But with that being said, I'm out of here. Take care, everyone. Peace.